Hi everybody. Well, here we are back with our vase. It's gone through the kiln and it's all nice and hard. It's now what's called bisque, and it's ready for us to take the next step on getting it glazed. So once it comes out of the kiln, you want to clean it off with a damp sponge. Just wipe it all down because you get some clay dust on it during the firing, and if you don't get that off, you can do some damage to the glaze that you put on. You can get pinholes, and there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. So you just wipe it down with a sponge and you're good to go. Then the second thing is to try and get a nice edge on the bottom of the pot. So just a little trick I learned along the way here was by putting an elastic. So this is just an elastic around the base of the pot, and what we're going to do is we're going to put what's called wax emulsion on it, and it's another word for it is wax resist. So and what it does is it doesn't allow any glaze to go in that area, and you end up with a really nice line. You can't always do that with elastics, but luckily on this one we can. So that's what we're doing. So now we're going to put some wax resist on the bottom, and we've already got elastic there, so we're going to get a nice clean line. Just get that everywhere, all over on the bottom. Good. So there we go. So now if any glaze comes in contact with the base of the pot, it'll resist it. So you'll end up with a nice clean base for your pot. And now we got to let that dry, and then we can carry on to the glaze. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. All right, so now we're going to continue on here. So it's nice and dry. The base is nice and dry. So we're going to remove that elastic that I had put on the bottom. There it is. And now we got a nice straight line all the way around. So glaze will not adhere to anywhere on a pot that's got this wax resist on. So here we go. I've chosen, we're going to put two colors on this pot. I've chosen a low fire glaze. It's going to fire between 1800 to 1950 degrees, somewhere in there. And normally if you're looking at a cone 5 or 6 glaze, you're looking at 2200 degrees. So this is a lot lower firing temperature glaze. So what I've chosen is two colors. One color is a greeny gold color and called Stardust, and then we've got the other one is called Desert. So, and this one here is a pretty gold, shiny gold. So we're going to put those two colors together and see what we get. So make sure that you shake your glaze up really good and it's all mixed up good. And personally, I prefer bamboo brushes. They're nice and soft, and they hold the glaze really, really well, and it's just a preference. There's so many different kinds of glazes out there, but I get a really nice flow with them also. Anyway, we're going to start. We're going to start on the inside, and we're going to just do real flowing strokes. If you start to feel the bisque underneath the brush, then you know that you don't have enough paint on your brush, and you know, you got to put it on pretty thick. So we're going to put a coat on the inside. Sorry you can't see that, but this is how we're going here. This is what it's starting to look like. Try not to miss anything. And because we've got some texture on this vase, you got to make sure you get in all the cracks, and because you'll have white bisque showing through if you don't. So we're going to just finish off the inside, and we'll do a little bit on the outside. It's going to take, we're going to put four coats, 2 coats of each glaze on, and then fire it. But between each coat, you got to make sure that it's dried completely. You can't put wet clay. If you try and put wet clay over wet glaze over glaze, it just won't adhere. It won't stick, and you won't get that nice finish that you're looking for. So there we got the inside all done. And we'll just do a little bit on the outside here. Oh, you can't see. Just a second. There we go. The paint, always with a big, I always love painting with that very loaded brush. For glaze, the more you can get on and get it as even as you possibly can. That's key. Just glazing in itself is a technique, and it takes a lot of trial and error, and just doing it lots. You get that. You know, when you mess one up, you learn by that lesson, and try not to make it again. So here we go. We've got, oops. And it can get messy sometimes, but as you can see, the glaze is not touching anywhere near the bottom of the pot. It just resists it. It's just a beautiful thing. Okay, so we'll just make sure we got the one full coat on. It's always nice to work with these round tables too, because you don't have to touch the pot as much as until it's dried. So there we go. We've got one coat on, and we've got 3 more coats to go. 1 more of this Stardust, and then 2 more of this Desert. So when we're all done, I'll be back. Well, here we are. I got all 4 coats on it, and at the last minute I decided to add a 3rd color, which is called Stardust, and just sprayed it all over the place. So I have no idea what it's going to turn out like. I've never tried all this combination, so it's going to be just as much as a surprise for me as it is for you. So now this is going to have to dry. It's on pretty thick, so it's going to have to dry for a couple of days, and then I'll fire it and be back with the final results. Okay, hope you're having a great day. See you soon.